Welcome to Shankar's daily editorial analysis, and today's topic of discussion is these two editorials. And in this first editorial we'll discuss about the self-employment, what is the criteria for self-employment, what are the challenges faced by them and measures taken by the Indian government to deal with these challenges. And in the second editorial we'll discuss about the space ambitions that India have and what are the initiatives taken by India, one being the new generation launch vehicle. We will also discuss about other missions and policies which are designed by India to ace in the space technology. So without further delay, let's get into today's discussion. Our Indian labor market consists of high proportion of self-employed workers, and they account for almost 50% of the total workforce, especially considering the rural areas and the women. Even though it has some negative aspects that such as low productivity, inadequate earnings and the poor quality of working conditions, it is a better option in the absence of salaried jobs. So in this discussion we will see what are the challenges which are faced by this self-employed and what are the measures taken by the government to deal with these challenges. So let's start the discussion. Let's see what is the criteria to say someone that they are self-employed. So according to the periodic labor force survey, they are classified into three types. That is, these three types includes the self-employed workers. First is the unpaid family workers. So these workers contribute to the family business without getting any direct wages. This is called as the unpaid family workers. And secondly, we have the employers. So these are people who run their own business with the help of the hired workers. This is called as the employers. And lastly, we have a category called as own account workers. So they run their own business but they do not have the hired workers. According to the periodic labor force survey, these people comes under the self-employment. So now let's see what are the challenges faced by these self-employed workers. First and the main challenge is the low earnings. Because of the fluctuating prices of the product as well as the demand of the product, they are prone to have only less earnings, that is minimum level of earnings. This is the first challenge. They tend to have an irregular and insufficient income. And mainly women earn significantly less comparing to the men because of their concentration in the low paid activities such as the handicrafts, also in case of the household enterprises. So the women are prone to low earnings compared to the men, and there is a concept called as underemployment, which is nothing but they do jobs that do not fully utilize their skills or they do not work for minimum number of hours a week. For example, if they work less than 40 hours a week, they are said to be underemployed. So in case of self-employment, there is low earning as well as there is a underemployment. So here they have quoted an example. For example, if a farmer is running a small dairy business, he may have a irregular and insufficient income. This is because there will be a fluctuating price in the milk as well as there will be a limited market access as they are self-employed. So suppose if all these self-employed people form an farmer producer organization, this will be helpful for them, which will help them to access the market even more efficiently. So the first challenge is low earnings and underemployment. Secondly, we have a challenge, that is inadequate access to the formal credit and the financial support. As they do not have any collateral, it is difficult for them to access the formal credit and they go for informal credit in most cases as they do not have the collateral. And another disadvantage is that they will have a high interest rate in case of the informal credit. So this is not advantageous for the self-employed workers because they find it difficult to expand their business because of the lack of financial support. It is also having another challenge is that the women face many issues and biases when they are going to access a financial source to expand their business. This is the second challenge we have talked about. This is the second challenge which is faced by the self-employed workers majorly. The third challenge is the poor quality of work. Actually, the self-employed workers do not have any proper regular work schedule and they are prone to irregular working timings, and there is no formal contract in case of self-employment. So there is a poor quality of working lifestyle, and they do not have any social security or no paid leave or medical leave. So these are the disadvantages with respect to the working condition. They are also prone to seasonal fluctuation in the demand of the work, and they are mainly dependent upon the local markets. This is also creating a instability in their earning. So the next and the fourth challenge is the educational and the skill gaps. So a large proportion of these self-employed workers have only low educational level and they do not have any vocational training compared to the other workers. This is limiting their ability to create many innovations. For example, let's take a carpenter. He do not have any formal vocational training and it is difficult for him to adopt to any modern tools that has been released in the market. This can reduce their competitiveness compared to any well established business. So this is the disadvantage because of the lack in educational aspect. And the next disadvantage or the challenge is the legal and administrative barriers. So let's take an example to understand that. Many women in India, they have food stall, but they find it difficult to formalize their business because they are um, facing challenge to deal with all the complex licensing procedures that are there. They're also even having less awareness with respect to the legal requirements to formalize their business. So this is the challenge existing right now, and all these huge procedures and legal requirements are discouraging the self-employed workers to register their business and to get the government benefits. So this is the next challenge in the self-employed workers, and these barriers are creating a hurdle for the self-employed workers to formalize their business and get the benefits out of that. And the last and the important barrier in the self-employment is the gender specific challenges. Women usually face challenges to access all the high paying sectors because they are prone to high bias in the society. All the societal norms as well as the lack of mobility and many domestic responsibilities are restricting the participation of women in case of the self-employment. So until now we saw what are the challenges faced by this self-employed women. Now let's see what are the measures that are taken by Government of India with valid examples that you can quote it in the mains exam. So firstly, we saw the challenge is the low earnings and underdevelopment. So how this can be solved? That can be solved by improving the skills of the workers. So many skill development initiatives are introduced by Government of India, and one such scheme is the Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So this is under the Ministry of Rural Development, and it gives the skill training to the rural youth. So they have here the Gramin Kaushal Yojana. So they to the rural youth it is given, the skill training is given. Secondly, we also have another program called as the Skill India program, which is under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So the aim of this scheme is to create a skilled workforce in India. This is another scheme, and we also have the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So this is also a skill training program which is offered to the youth in India. Along with that, many gender sensitive training is also required to boost the participation of women in the workforce. We can also promote the digital literacy and online training in case of the remote areas to improve their efficiency. So these are the initiatives taken by India to improve the skills of the workers. Second challenge we saw is that the access to credit. So to improve the access to credit, we have many schemes, and one such scheme is the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. So this comes under the Ministry of Finance, and the beneficiary of these schemes are non-corporate, non-farm, micro and small enterprises. And we have three types of loans under this Mudra. If you know that, you can comment in the comment section. And here the workers can have access to loans with very low interest and without any collateral. This will help them to expand their business widely. So along with that, to improve the credit access, we can expand and promote the microfinance institution as well as the self-help group, which will provide the credit to these kind of workers. And we can also introduce women-centric credit schemes to reduce the gender bias that we already discussed in this session. The next challenge we discussed is the access to education, and to improve the access to education we have various schemes. And one such initiative by a state specific program, that is the adult literacy program, that is conducted in the state of Tamil Nadu. And this particular program has enabled the women in the Tamil Nadu to manage their enterprises as well as finances in a better way. We can also promote the secondary level education and higher education to increase their employability. And thirdly, we can also establish the rural community learning center. So this community learning center will also enhance the skill of the people and increase their employability. So talking about the fourth challenge is the legal barriers. So to deal with this legal barriers, various legal reforms were being introduced, and one such scheme which is introduced is the Startup India Mission, and this is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So you have to remember the ministry and what is the objective of each scheme. That is the main thing you have to understand and learn. And secondly, it comes under the Department of Industry and International Trade. So this platform will provide a simplified registration, tax incentives, and they also promote the entrepreneurship in India. And we can also simplify the registration processes and offer a single window clearance and provide legal aid for any entrepreneurs to formalize their business. So this will be beneficial especially for women who face challenges in formalize their business because of the challenging legal requirement. And to promote the gender equality in case of self-employment, in Kerala they have introduced a scheme called as the Kudumbashree. So this has empowered women by creating many self-help group which mainly focuses on the skill development and the entrepreneurship. We can also provide childcare facilities as well as the flexible work arrangement, which will help the women to work to balance the work as well as the responsibilities in house. So we saw the main feature of the self-employment. One negative feature is that there is a irregular working condition. So by having these features, it will be beneficial for the women specifically. And we can also improve the technology and market linkage. So we saw there is a limited market access for the self-employed people. So we have introduced e-commerce platforms such as the eNam. So the eNam is a digital platform which comes under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. This will enable the farmers to sell the products directly without any middleman. So there will be no middleman, and it will be creating a high profit as there is a cut down of middleman in the center. We also have other e-platforms such as India Handmade, which comes under the Ministry of Textiles. We also have the GEM, which is the Government Electronic Marketplace, and we also have the Seva. All these digital platforms are helpful for the self-employed people to sell their products and make profit. So in this editorial discussion, we saw what are the challenges faced by the self-employed and what are the measures taken by the government to improve it. So with this, let's see a mains question. This is the question. You can write the answer in the comment section. We will definitely review it for you. And now let's see the next article discussion. This is the next editorial that we're going to discuss today, and they have mainly focused about the plans of India to strengthen the capabilities in space with the help of a new generation launch vehicle, and they have also talked about the improvement of private sector participation to improve the competitiveness and innovation in the space. So these are the two aspects they have focused upon, but they have also mentioned about the Gaganyaan mission. We will also have a quick glimpse of all three things, that is one being NSIL, and second we will discuss about the in space, and thirdly we will discuss about the Indian Space Policy 2023. So we will have a short explanation of that. So we will have a clear explanation of these three as well. So firstly, let's talk about this new generation launch vehicle. So firstly, what we have to understand is that this launch vehicle aims to increase the reusability as well as to improve the payload capacity. So by improving the payload capacity, we will be able to space lift the women in the future times, and we also have to make it financially viable so that it will be accessible and affordable to carry out various tests until we reach the required result and to reach the safety standard. So one aim being the financial viability, and second to increase the payload capacity, and third to improve the reusability. But one positive aspect being it will save the cost, and negative being if to achieve the reusability we have to keep some fuel to have a controlled descent back to the earth, and this might decrease the carrying capacity. So all these challenges has to be faced to achieve the desired goal. And let's discuss the key features of this new generation launch vehicle. So first, talking about to increase the payload capacity, this is designed to carry almost 10 tons to the geostationary transfer orbit and almost 20 tons to the low earth orbit. So this capacity is almost 3 times higher than the LVM3, which is the GSLV Mark 3, which is the current highest payload capacity launch vehicle of India. So this new generation launch vehicle will have this high capacity, and secondly this will enable the launching of heavy larger satellites, and it will also support the lunar missions and other interplanetary exploration. This is the first thing. Secondly, talking about the reusability, so they have incorporated many reusable components such as the boosters, which will significantly reduce the cost of launching, and they have aimed to lower the cost to almost $1,900 per kilogram to the low earth orbit, which will make the Indian space technology competitive globally, and the reusability concept will also lower all the expenses with respect to the space missions, and it will also make the projects financially viable as discussed in the first. Next, they have also planned to incorporate eco-friendly propellants. For example, they have used the green fuels. So you have to note the name of this: methane liquid oxygen, and secondly we have another green fuel, that is kerosene liquid oxygen. So this will help the space technology to minimize the emission of carbon, and it will also promote the sustainability. Next, we will discuss about the scalability, that is they have designed a simple and a robust vehicle that will be suitable for the cost effective production, and it will help us to meet the demands that are increasing for the launching of satellites. So this NGV-LV, which is the new generation launch vehicle, has a development phase of almost 8 years, and they have planned and targeted the first flight at the year 2030. So these are the aspects that we have to understand with respect to this new generation launch vehicle. Now we will see about the in-space. So in-space, which is abbreviated as the Indian National Space Promotion, and Authorization Center. So this is a nodal agency under the Department of Science, and they promote as well as regulation of private sector participation in the space activities. So it is under the Department of Science. They have two main functions. One, they will authorize all the private sector involvement in case of building satellites, rocket and space application. So this is the first function of them, and the second function of this in space is to provide a platform for the collaboration between ISRO and the private companies, and the third function is they will ensure a level playing field for the private players. These are the main functions of the in-space. Now we will see what is the function and the role of NSIL, which is the New Space India Limited, and it was established in the year 2019. So this is actually a public sector undertaking under the Department of Science, and the main function of them is to commercialize. So commercialization is the primary function of this NSIL, and they will commercialize the space technology and services which are developed by the ISRO. So the ISRO will develop the technology and services and they will commercialize it. So now we will also have a quick look of the Indian Space Policy 2023, and it was mainly introduced to enhance the capability of India in the space sector and to increase the participation of the private players. So let's discuss what are the main objective of them. They will develop a space technology that will ensure the national security and development. So this is the first objective, and the second objective is to promote the private sector participation. That will help us to build a competitive space economy. This is the second point. And thirdly, this both activities will help India to strengthen its position in the global level market. This is the main objective of the state policies, and all the three agencies such as the ISRO, InSpace and NSIL all have their own function and role under this policy. While let's say the ISRO will focus on research and development, while the InSpace will act as a regulator and the NSIL will commercialize it. So this is called as the Indian Space Policy 2023. So I said they have also talked about the Gaganyaan. So what is this Gaganyaan? Gaganyaan is the India's first, so this is the first human space lift mission, and they have sent almost 3 members into the low Earth orbit, which is about 400 km in altitude from the Earth's surface, and Gaganyaan is launched using the GSLV Mark III launch vehicle, and India is the 4th country to send the humans to the low Earth orbit. So if you know what is the first country, you can comment in the comment section. So now let's see what are the challenges and opportunities in the space market. First challenge being limited expertise in the technical level and resources in the private firms. The second challenge is the regulatory hurdles and why there is a need for the, and the second challenge is the regulatory hurdles and the need for a clearer guidelines. So we require a much clearer guidelines compared to now. And the third challenge being the high cost of space technology development. So in this article discussion, we saw what is new generation launch vehicle, InSpace, NSIL, the Indian Space Policy. So with this, let's see a main question. India is shaping the future of space exploration with reusable rockets, private sector growth and a vision for global leadership in the space technology. Analyze. So you can write the answer for this question and post it in the comment section. We will review it for you. We have come to end of today's video. If you found the video informative, do hit like, give your feedbacks as comment and do not forget to subscribe. Thank you. Have a nice day.